today. So just wanted to flag that for everybody. So we'll go ahead and get started with a grounding exercise that is going to be presented to us by, I believe, Rashida, and I'm trying to see if I can locate her. But if Antoinette, if you see Rashida, please go ahead and bring her in the space, or if you wanted to go ahead and ground us for that section that we wanted to invite our members to participate in.
Yeah, I don't see her in the space as of yet. And if she does come in, then I'll go ahead and introduce her and allow her to go ahead and do that. But so meanwhile, what I'll go ahead and do just to ground us in this moment, just in light of COVID, with a lot of our loved ones away, a lot of our loved ones that some of us have left behind, upon our freedom, I just wanted to take a moment. Everyone can just bring into this space, and you can either just put their name in the chat or just say it out loud to yourself or however, but bring into the space any person who's currently incarcerated, your loved one whom you're missing at this time or worried about or concerned about, or bring into the space any person on parole who can't vote right now, who may not be here, but you want to bring them into this space. But I just want to ground us with that love and support from our loved ones who I know inspire all of us in this work. And bring a lot of us here for this work. So if you guys want to go ahead and just share in the chat who you bring into this space, or just share it out loud, we'll take a moment for that. And let me see if Rashida's come in yet. And I see a few people bringing their loved ones into this space. So we'll go ahead and just call out a few. I see Malik. We'll bring Malik into this space. Tommy, Carl Robinson. We have Shayla bringing her husband, Jose, into this space. We have Autumn bringing all of her loved ones inside, including Lola, Misty, Arsenio, Benny, bringing everyone into this space on death row. Thank you so much. So many more. Thanks, Taina. Taina would like to bring in Rasan Thomas and Juan Haynes. They're both at San Quentin and members of Initiate Justice and key to the Prop 17 campaign. So we want to definitely welcome them into this space as we discuss Prop 17 and get us a victory next month. Andre, we bring your husband Johnny into this space. John, we bring all of your brothers inside into this space. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this kind of gives us a moment to just acknowledge our loved ones and ground ourselves and remind ourselves why we do this work as we proceed. Thank you so much. And I'll go ahead and just pass it back to Daisy to finish welcoming as the members.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. And just to, again, thank everybody for being here tonight on, a Wednesday evening. But it's going to be a good night filled with a lot of good information, updates, and again, welcoming space for new members who want to join Initiate Justice in our mission as we continue our advocacy efforts. So just wanted to start by announcing that we have 12 new members that we are adding to our outside membership. And so just for folks who are new, you can become an Initiate Justice member by attending 3 out of 4 consecutive monthly member meetings. And we hold these meetings the first Wednesday of every month. So as long as you attend 3 out of 4 consecutive meetings, you will be considered an Initiate Justice member. So today we are happy to announce that we have 12 new members that we are going to be bringing into the space. And so I'm just going to read off some of the names and just, give your emoji clap if you're able to do that. Or, if you're driving like Monica is, give some claps in your head or just share some of those congrats in the chat. And so some of these members are going to be, again, part of our membership base as we're continuing to build that. So Ana Padron, Asa Davis, Babette France, Crispy Gardner, Izzy Carmona, Jarrell Samaniego, Jesse Coplas, Joni Robinson, Maxine Heiliger, Mireya Gonzalez, Roxana Gonzalez, and Tammy Ingram. And a lot of these names I recognize just from the different committees that they are part of. I know some of these folks are part of the Advocacy Committee, others are part of the Inside Membership, and some of the other committees that we also have, which we'll be hearing from in a second. But just giving a moment to really acknowledge folks who have been supportive of our organization, and congratulations for being an official Initiate Justice member. And for folks who, again, are new, just attend 3 out of 4. If you are on your second or third, you'll be a new member as long as you sign in. So just, again, emphasizing the need to sign in. That way we can ensure that you are acknowledged when you have been to 3 out of 4 meetings. And so with that being said, I'll go ahead and move us along to the agenda for the evening. So we'll start off with some organizational updates that will be given out by Taina. So Taina, I pass the mic to you.
Yes, thank y'all so much, and welcome to all of the new members. So just a couple of really quick things before we go into the committee updates. As I already shared, welcome Antoinette, who is now on our staff as our outside organizing coordinator. So she's going to be really leading the work around our Institute of Impacted Leaders and really strengthening our membership both inside and out. And congratulations to Daisy, who also got a promotion. So in addition to doing her policy work now, she is now our statewide advocacy coordinator, and will also be doing work around our membership and expanding our chapter model. So congrats to both of y'all. And we also have a new policy fellow who will be joining us for the next 10 months. So welcome Sarah Rigney, who's on. Hi, Sarah. Who's joining us from Northern California, used to intern with the California State Legislature and is also impacted. So we're super grateful for your expertise and to have you with us for the next 10 months. And just also wanted to share an update that Christine has decided to move on, is no longer with us. So, we wish her the best, but are, excited to move forward with Antoinette and Daisy, who will be taking over our membership stuff from now on. So just quick updates that I wanted to share with you all. Welcome to our new team. Congrats to Daisy on her promotion. And I will pass it back to y'all.
Thanks, Taina. So we're going to go ahead and move along with some of our committee updates, and we'll start off with Advocacy Committee updates that will be provided by Greg.
Yes, thank you, Daisy. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our member meeting. I have a few things I want to say for Advocacy, and then I want to kick it back to Daisy to give you all some Prop 17 updates, because there's a lot of action items and volunteer opportunities right now for the campaign that are really fun and really easy to get into. I want to start by talking about the end of the legislative cycle. So last Wednesday, a week ago, September 30th, was the end of the legislative cycle. And we were following about 10 or 12 bills that were very closely aligned with our organizational values, and bills that we thought would accelerate our timeline for abolishing prisons and ending mass incarceration, right? So it ended up that the governor vetoed about half of these bills. And I just want to say to Governor Newsom, you're a clown. Right? His commitment to ending mass incarceration is so hollow. He's all about the photo ops. He's all about the hashtags and, saying that he's woke and he's about the mission. And I want to just call out 3 bills that he vetoed that is so incredibly frustrating and just show how he is a roadblock for us to end mass incarceration in California, right? The first bill I want to talk about, AB2054 the Crisis Act, was a bill that would have set up community alternatives to emergency responses, right? So for example, I was talking to my sister just the other day, right? And she said there was a homeless man on her porch at 2 a.m, making a ruckus, doing all these things, right? And in our current situation, the only option available to her is to deal with it herself or call 911 or involve the law enforcement, all situations that'll just escalate it and will lead to more violence and more harm, right? So the current situation is not working for anyone. The governor had a bill on his desk, right, that would have set up alternatives to this, that would have brought in mental health experts, that would have brought in homeless experts, right, to be dealing with these types of situations. And the governor vetoed that bill, right? So the governor is telling us that he does not care about police violence, right? That he does not care about empowering communities to take care of themselves, right? So that was incredibly disappointing. I want to give a shout out to our champion, Assembly Member Kamlager, right? She is on our side. She's pushing these bills. She is committed to equity and justice and fairness, and she will keep running it back in the future years. But it's clear to us that the governor is not, right? The second bill I want to talk about, AB2054 was a parole reintegrations credits bill. This bill was written by two formerly incarcerated men about their experiences while on parole, the challenges, the roadblocks that we're putting in front of people, not to talk about voting, what we're doing with Prop 17, but the other 40,000 legal barriers that are in front of people when it comes to reentry. This was a bill that was going to start to chip away at those things, right? And allow people to invest in their own healing and things like this, right? Through volunteer opportunities, education, everything in the world that we're asking these folks to do, right? And the governor vetoes this bill also and says, oh no, CDCR will figure it out. CDCR, the agency that's responsible for 50% recidivism, this agency that has failed us for decades, the agency that is designed to oppress and criminalize our behavior, they will never be the solution for us. The governor vetoed that bill also, right? The last bill I want to talk about, and I'll stop ranting, and I'm sorry if my frustration's coming out, but I also want to talk about Senate Bill 1064 from Nancy Skinner, right? This was a bill that would have banned the use of confidential information and confidential informants in parole board hearings, right? This was a due process bill, right? If you are in the court of law, you cannot, I went to law school for 6 months. I'm not a legal expert here, but there's all these rules about evidence, federal rules of evidence as it relates to hearsay and bringing in statements that are from out of court, because you cannot authenticate the truth and veracity of those statements, right? But when it comes to our parole system and the parole board hearings, there can be confidential information that can lead to denials of 2, 7, multiple years, right? This is information that is not verified. CDCR just takes this information from their CIs, right? And then it's used to deny people and to deny them their freedom, right? This was another bill that made it through the legislature, bipartisan support, and the government vetoed the bill, saying once again, CDCR will figure this out. CDCR is doing an okay job. CDCR is failing. They are failing miserably. And each year they fail more, and he allocates more money to their budget, right? $13.4 billion this year just to fail us over and over again. This is unacceptable, right? And I'm sorry if it's coming off too much. I appreciate all the love in the chat, but his commitment to our causes is so hollow, right? And you can see, for example, let's give him props, right? He signed AB 2542, the Racial Justice Act, right? The bill that's literally titled the Racial Justice Act, landmark legislation. Shout out to Ash Kalra, Curb, CCWP, all the co-sponsors there, right? So he signed the bill that's titled Racial Justice Act and then vetoes the other bills that progress racial justice, right? So what we know is that if it has a cool hashtag and if it's trendy, he'll sign it, he'll get on board. But when it comes to really investing in the issues that will be the solutions to this harm, he backs away. He's like, oh, no, I can't do something about that. I have to protect my interest. I'm getting money from so-and-so. I have to be careful here. Sorry. Very disappointed with the way things ended up. We will be back. It only makes us more resolute and strengthens our resolve in these causes. We will be back very strongly, probably in December, early next year. You'll see our new bills. We had a couple bills earlier this year that were dropped that will be running back stronger than ever, in addition to working on a family connection bill, increasing the use of technology to the inside. It's beyond time that we start doing that. Nobody's had visits now since March, right? Let's start getting some Skypes. Let's get some tablets in there. There's a lot that we can do. We're actively brainstorming on these issues right now. So please get in touch with me. Please join the Advocacy Committee. I can be reached at greg@initiatejustice.org. Our next meeting is Tuesday, October 27th at 5:30 p.m. We will, if you get in touch with me, we'll add you to our listserv. We'll send all the reminders that you get this meeting on your calendar and that you can please join us. One last thing I want to say, and then I'll pass it over to Daisy to please give us some outlines, is that, so we have a new voter guide, right? Initiate Justice published our own voter guide that I'm sure everybody has seen. I hope people are using it. And this voter guide covers, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 propositions, right? And the statewide, but when you look at your ballot, it's 5 pages, 5-6 pages, right? There are local races. You're voting for your judge, your school board supervisor, your county. I mean, you're voting for so many things outside of just the props that we covered, right? So there's this other tool that we contributed to, this other resource, this website called Electjusticeca.org. I'll throw it in the chat. If you go to this website and you type in your zip code, it'll show you all the local races, and then you can then research your candidates, right? So that you can know the judge that you're voting for. You can know the school board, the school board person you're voting for, right? There's so much power on our ballot, and we need to be informed, right? And I know everybody on this call understands the importance of this, right? But I want everybody here to be an ambassador for their communities, for their loved ones, right? And to share that knowledge, right? And to further disseminate it and decentralize that, right? Everybody needs to know this information. We have so much power when it comes to our ballots, and there are so many of us who are not allowed to vote, who are disenfranchised for so many reasons, right? So for me personally, I'm voting for the people who can't vote, right? And I'm going to do my research to understand who I am voting for. So I want to also, I'll share that in here with Electjusticeca. That's another great tool in addition to our voter guide. And with the Prop 17 stuff, I'll pass to Daisy in a moment. I just want to say quickly, and then I'll shut up. I know I'm ranting. In 10 days, we're having a fundraiser on October 17th, Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Prop 17 campaign, the Yes on Prop 17 campaign. This is our last fundraiser before the election, and we want to go out with a bang, right? So we know that IJ supporters have been the bedrock of this campaign the whole time, right? We are powering this campaign, right? And we are less than 30 days away, 27, 26 days away. But my one last call to y'all is with our upcoming fundraiser is please help us share the word, right? We want to get hundreds of people showing up. We want to raise thousands of dollars. We want to get more money for swag and digital ads and so many things, right? That if we get our message in front of more people, it's just going to pass and it'll just increase, our margin, everything. And then we'll be able to come back in a few years and do another ballot measure that gets people who are on the inside and restores their right to vote. So I'll drop that RSVP link in the chat in a moment. And I'll pass to Daisy for other Prop 17 updates.
Thanks so much, Greg, for that very passionate, just kind of overview of where things are at. I think you captured a lot of the feelings and emotions that a lot of folks have been expressing with, the news of what ended up going through and what wasn't. So just thank you so much for being, a voice for so many of us who, have been impacted by this and using all of that to speak out, especially with things like this. So just so grateful for you. We dropped some links in the chat for folks who are able to tune into the chat version of the meeting. But if you don't have access to the chat, to make sure you sign in, and we'll include this information in an email that we'll send out to folks following the meeting. So again, just take a second to sign in. It's just your name, email address, and just checking off that you're signing into tonight's meeting. And so just to give folks an update on Prop 17, I think most folks who have been attending our meetings are familiar with it, but for folks who are new or just wondering what Prop 17 is, Proposition 17 is an initiative that's going to be appearing on your ballot if you've already received it. And if you have it, it's going to be coming in the mail in the next couple of days. But it's asking California voters to decide whether or not to restore voting rights for people who have completed their prison terms. And so this is a campaign that we have been leading. It's been in the works for over 3 years. And so we're very excited to see it just get to where it's at now. Hence, Greg really asking folks to share that event that we're having on October 17th. It's a Saturday, 7 to 8 p.m. Share it with your networks, text your friends about it, send emails out that we really want to turn up this last big bang that we're having to ask for donations for the campaign. It's a completely grassroots funded campaign, no money taken from special interests. So that's one big way that folks can support the campaign is just resharing any information that you have from the campaign on this initiative. And wanted to just give an update on folks who have been following the work. We have been receiving a lot of requests in terms of ways to support. One of the ways that we have been seeing really be a big way to help out is to become a social media ambassador. And basically what that is you sign up via our website and the campaign sends out an email to folks who signed up to be a social media ambassador once a week with the information that you need to be to share out the information. So basically it's either a photo or a video of the campaign with the message that we want to deliver. It has a sample caption for you to use. All you have to do is copy and paste, and you can download the image or the video to share across your networks. If you have access to Twitter, all you have to do is click on something that says click to tweet, and it automatically just brings up a post and you just hit tweet and that's it. So that's a very easy way for you to support the campaign. But one of the other exciting news that I want to share is that we now are able to direct folks to phone banking and text banking opportunities through the ACLU of Southern California and the ACLU of Northern California. Both of these two affiliates, along with other organizations and offices, are hosting different phone banking and text banking sessions. So I will drop a link in the chat where people can access the RSVP link so you can sign up to join those efforts and really spread the word about Prop 17. We are under a month away till Election Day. So just wanted to give folks that really exciting news that you can now plug in that way to support the campaign. And again, just take a second to sign in tonight and we'll share all of the information with you in the follow-up meeting. So I will go ahead and pass it over to our next committee update, which will be coming from Lee. And again, for any questions that folks have for advocacy, feel free to drop them in the chat. And either Greg, Sarah, myself, and Tonette will try to answer those questions as we see them in the chat. But Lee, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you for Inside Organizing update.
Thank you so much, Daisy. It's hard to follow Greg. It always is. He's so passionate about policy and advocacy. And look, he even gets a little bit shy on it. But listen, this is what we need for IJ, and this is what we need for the people that are supporting us, and this is what we need for our 30,000 members inside that are growing. My name is Lee Gibson. I'm the Inside Organizing Coordinator for Initiate Justice, and I have the honor to be able to organize our inside organizers, which is roughly right now, right around 139, 140 people that are inside that are organizing the 30,000 members or the 92,000 people that are currently being held in our state prison. So what we do in inside organizing is we start to educate them. We talk to them about the political process. We talk to them about what's going on in our communities, what's going on in their communities, and we listen to them. We take all of our policies, all of our issues, and all of our ideas from them because it all basically affects them and their family members. So this is where we get all of our things that this is where our policies derive from. Just like they were talking about Rashawn Thomas and Prop 17, this is where it came from. It came from somebody inside. And so once we start to educate them about the policies and how to organize in there, we teach them about advocacy. We teach them how to go about organizing in their institutions, how to mobilize, how to activate their family members, how to activate their friends, and how to get them involved in their communities to make this California a better place. And the only way that we're going to do that is with the people that are actually suffering, the people that are actually know what goes on in their communities, and not just people like Greg was going on he calls a rant. I don't call it a rant. I call it the truth speak. He was going on the truth speak about Governor Newsom and how he's kind of approaching these situations is not with clear eyes and an open heart like he pretends to be. And I think this is the thing with the Inside Organizing Committee. This is what we do. Just recently, we sent in over, I don't know, it was probably like 5,000 postcards. I know it was a lot. So on these postcards was just yes on 17 and no on 20, and then getting them to get their family members and their loved ones involved. That's how we kind of do this. We do it grassroots. We do it with shoestring budget, but we also do it with passion and we do it with heart, just like Greg was talking about. So what we're going to need out of people that want to join the Inside Organizing Committee, I see a few of our committee members already on here, Crystal, Michelle. I was talking to Cheryl. I'm trying to get her to come over. There's a lot of you. I see the people on here that I'm trying to get involved in Inside Organizing Committee because I need people to train other people that are inside, and I need people to activate our inside organizers that are in queue. I have like over 100 people that need to be phone trained. It's really simple. It's super easy. I can teach you over a week's period on how to do it, get you go ahead and talking to the people that are inside, because for me personally, it is, it's really important. For those of you that don't know, I spent 25 years inside of there. So I know those people really well. I've talked to them. I've lived with them. I've broke bread with them. I played sports with them. I've gone to education. I've gone to self-help groups. I've cried. I've hugged, like all of these things. These are like my brothers, my sisters, they're all in there. And I want them to be able to be educated as much as possible, to be able to come out here and be productive members of society once again, and to join us in. And I will say this, when you are voting yes on Prop 17, you're voting for me to be able to vote next year. And so it's especially important to me that you actually do that. So please continue to support Prop 17, join up with the next the next committee. I think it was on October 17th. He was talking about the fundraising. So please join in with that. Get as many people as you can to join in. Yeah, and that's about it for the Inside Organizing Committee. I know I've started to rant too. Greg has kind of set the fire underneath all of us, and I think it's probably going to be something that's gonna happen for the rest of the night. But this is what you're going to get with the IJ. You're going to get a lot of energy. You're going to get a lot of passion. But you know what? We're also going to strap up our boots and pull up our pants and make sure that we're out there beating up the ballot boxes and educating the people to be able to vote on the things that we feel that are going to be best for our community members. And so if you have any questions, you can always drop it into the chat box, or you can hit me up at lee@initiatejustice.org. You can come and join our committee, the IO committee. We meet on the last Friday of every month. This month, it's going to be October 30th. So please come in, join up with us, hit me up. I'll put you on the Zoom link, and you can join with these. There's probably about 4 or 5 of the IO committees on here today. And you'll probably be able to interact with them when we do in the breakout rooms, and you'll see that we're a real passionate bunch, and we're looking forward for you to join our committees, and let's continue to change this. That's it, Daisy. I'm done. Where's my ice cream?
Thank you, Lee. And again, just reiterating what Lee just said is, a vote for Prop 17 is just one more step closer to giving Lee back that right that should have never been taken away from him. So just continue to please share the message for why we need to help pass Prop 17. And, we're hoping for a landslide victory on election day, because that's going to send a strong message to the rest of the state. So that's why we just keep asking folks to share as much as you can with your network. So if you have any questions for Lee, drop them in the chat. His email is lee@initiatejustice.org. And again, you can also just sign in via our sheet if you haven't done so already. And there's another link that we'll share, which is going to give you the opportunity to sign up for the committees that you've been hearing from tonight if you are new and want to join those committees. So just take a second to do that if you are interested in joining any of those committees. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Rashida, who co-leads our Healing Committee. So Rashida, if you could unmute yourself and share the Healing Committee updates for everybody, that would be great.
Let me just say, Greg and Lee is like a hard act to come by now. So I have to keep that same energy and that same passion. But here at the Healing Committee, we are definitely as passionate about the healing work that we're doing with IJ. I love you too, Sophie. We're definitely passionate about the healing work that we're doing. I'm super excited. First, let me just thank Antoinette for doing our breathing. I really appreciate that. And then shout out to Indigo being my co-facilitator. She's not here tonight, but definitely she's in our prayers. The month of September went really well in terms of all of the things that we have going on for the Healing Committee. For our formerly incarcerated people, the circle was powerful. Our men's circle, very powerful. And we wrote letters to ourselves. So there's a lot of different activities and work that we're putting in with the Healing Committee that's all centered around our healing, because as we know, this work is very real and we're all going through stuff in our personal lives, but and then we all come to this space and give everything we got for our loved ones. And so this month, for the month of October, we're going to continue the work in healing. So we have our Men's Healing Circle, which is this Monday, October 12th, led by Graham and Manny. We have our formerly incarcerated circle, which is happening October 19th. Then we have our impacted circle, which is happening Wednesday, October 21st. And then we have our Healing Committee at the end of the month, which is happening October 26th. And it'll always be every second Monday for men, every third Monday for formerly incarcerated, every third Wednesday for impacted people. And then our Healing Committee is every last Monday, just to kind of get those dates in your head. But again, I appreciate everyone who comes and attends and give their full selves and keep our space sacred. If it's something that you're interested in with just giving your input and how you can heal, we're always looking for feedback. If you want to come and cry, talk, whatever that space is for you. And we definitely hold it sacred. We have a lot of different things that we look forward to. And that's pretty much it. It's just a circle that is for us, by us. And so if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and then I'll leave our information or email as to how you can contact if you want to support or add tips, suggestions of how we can make our Healing Committee better.
Thanks so much for that update, Rashida. And I know I've seen some of the folks who are on this call join some of the healing circles, in particular the Impacted People Healing Circle is a really great space because a lot of us who have been on this journey by supporting our loved ones, and society has often stigmatized us for, or shamed us for talking about those experiences. So that's a really safe space for folks who are looking to connect with others who are going through similar journeys. So just really encourage folks to check that out. And again, that information is being shared in the chat, but for folks who don't have access to the chat tonight, we will be sending out an email to everybody who signs in. So just take a second to sign in. And I will go ahead and pass it along now to Antoinette, who will be giving an update on our inside members, as well as the Institute of Impacted Leaders.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, Rashida. Thank you, everybody. So just a quick update on our just inside membership. So I just want to take a moment, as Lee recognized, we have over 30,000 inside members. So we have 30,600 plus inside members. So round of applause to us for that. So I just wanted to take a moment. Thank you, y'all. And then, and that's with all of the work of us, right? So that's people power. And it warms my heart to know we have such large numbers. So then what I also wanted to do, along with hitting just amazing numbers in inside members, we also have graduated 36 outside organizers. So as you know, Taina maintains an inside-outside organizing structure, and it's so powerful. Well, our outside organizers, we just graduated our cohort in Sacramento. So round of applause to all of our graduates in Sacramento. We have Jason, John, Chenda, Christina, Desiree, Nancy, all of y'all, thank you so much. And I don't know everyone's name, but that's just a few. So just a round of applause for all of our graduates. Our IE cohort, we have Angel, Bibiana, Crystal, Diana, Melinda, Sandra, Christy, all of y'all, Manny, Lee, of course. Thank y'all so much and congratulations. We had 2 amazing ceremonies, so that was wonderful. And I want to give an update. So with those 2 cohorts coming to a close and our organizers joining us here, on our membership base, we're going to be opening up new facilitator positions for the Institute of Impacted Leaders. So I just want to let all of our outside organizers know, our new outside organizers, welcome, as well as our OG outside organizers. Those positions will be opening up, so look out for emails in January regarding facilitator positions. It's wonderful. It's a great experience. It's a camaraderie that you can't find anywhere else. And I think if you speak to any Institute of Impacted Leader, the facilitator thus far, Graham, Monica, and Zykia, thank you so much. They were our facilitators for IE in Sacramento. So that's going to be coming out in January. And then also, along with that, we'll be opening up our new Institute of Impacted Leaders cohort for all of our members. So for those of you who do not know, the Institute of Impacted Leaders is a 12-week training course in which we teach you how to change statewide policy and how to organize your communities to make that change. It's rigorous, it's in-depth. We have practical activities. You get to meet with your senators. You get in your assembly members, and you get to go to the legislators and do all of those activities that we train you to do. So that will be opening up in spring next year. So in March, be on the lookout, share with your friends. The Institute is open to any person who's impacted. So whether you're formerly incarcerated or you have a loved one who's currently or formerly incarcerated, and you want to get more involved in this work and get a deep education on this work, then that's an amazing opportunity. So I wanted to share that. And that's pretty much all that I have for updates. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to Daisy, who's going to transition us into our discussion for tonight.
Thanks, Antoinette, and thank you to all of the committee leads for the updates tonight. Just again, we ask for folks who are attending our meetings to sign up for a committee, support us in one way or another. Some of our members on here are actually on multiple committees, so thankful for all of you who have shown support for the organization. But really, there's you can sign up for one committee to start with and expand as you start getting more familiar with the organization. We, again, will be sending out an email with information shared tonight, but we also have a page on our website, initiatejustice.org, that actually breaks down a more definition of what the committee is, what they do, for folks who want to look at all of the committees as a whole and read that over. So we shared the link in the chat if you wanted to sign up to join a committee, and that way the committee leads can get in contact with you to get you to participate in the upcoming meetings that we had just announced. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and transition into our first activity for the night, which is we're going to be breaking out into groups of 4 or so. And so we're going to be asking folks to engage in conversation with one another because ballots just got mailed out on the 5th of October, which was this last Monday. Some folks like Taina already received their ballot and were able to drop it off. So, if you are able to vote early, we highly encourage folks to do that. We actually are going to be having a ballot party for folks who want to participate with some of our staff to talk about, how to fill out your ballot, maybe some of the positions that are appearing on your ballot. That will be taking place next Wednesday night from 6:30 to 8:30. And I'll plug that in again at the reminder at the end of the night, but just putting a pin on it because tonight's conversation will be whether you've received your ballot yet, have you reviewed it? Have you completed it? Have you used our voter guide that we released last Friday as a reference? And what other resources have you been pulling from to make those decisions? And again, for folks who maybe want to wait until we have that ballot party next Wednesday, you can join us for a virtual party just to have a more in-detail conversation about that. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and break us out into groups now, and we'll give folks about 15 minutes or so to just engage in conversation and just talk with one another to see what that has been like for you. So we will break out into rooms here in a second. Just one moment.
And while she go ahead and gets the breakout groups together, I can just give you all the questions. I know she'll broadcast them, but some of the questions that we'll be discussing is just have you received your ballot yet? So discuss that with one another. Have you reviewed or completed it? What's your, what progress you've made? Have you checked out our Initiate Justice Voter Guide? What your opinions are on that? And then what other resources and what other sources are y'all using to educate yourself and learn about your ballot and educate your votes and give informed votes? So those are some of the questions to guide our discussion tonight. Okay, it looks like we've got everyone pretty much back in. So how'd everyone's discussions go? Just a show of hands, or you can use like the little hands. Everyone's discussions was good. Did anyone want to share any aha moments or any good resources maybe that they got from their group with the rest of the group tonight? You just feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to share what you discussed in your group or something interesting maybe that you discovered on your ballot that you want to inform the rest of the members about.
So me and Ryan in our breakout group, we discovered that Proposition, is it 25? Like, was a little controversy. Like, basically we wanted to do like more research, and I didn't even ask if Ryan mind me sharing, but that's what we talked about, to see if we could do more research to make sure that when we do vote on that proposition, that we are voting fair. And that it doesn't hurt like our loved ones, or it doesn't hurt, you know, the people who will be impacted by this proposition. So yeah, that's something that we all had a common discussion about.
Thank you, Rashida. Thank you so much for sharing. Did anyone else notice the same thing in their groups, or were there any other ones? Yeah, I see a lot of head nods about that one. Yep, I see a lot of thumbs up and head nods and things of that nature. Did mostly everyone get a chance to check out the Initiate Justice Voter Guide? Did you guys have any discussions around that? Anything interesting you wanted to highlight? I know we had some people highlighting the voter guide earlier, and Daisy has just shared it again for us in the chat so that you guys can go ahead and make sure you're taking advantage of that. Any other resources or anything? Keep in mind that Greg did share a resource earlier as well for the Electjusticeca. I can actually put that one in the chat again. Just a reminder, that one's great for you to go ahead and just input your zip code, and you can just kind of see who's on the seat and things of that nature in your local communities. So that's another great resource. Did anyone else want to share something from their breakout group? No, okay. So if no one else wanted to share, then what we can do is we can go ahead and just transition into our guest speakers that we have with us tonight. So just before I do that, did anyone have any questions or anything before we transition into our amazing guest speakers that we have with us tonight? I hear somebody unmuted. Any questions? No? Okay, well then perfect. So I want to just go ahead.
Sorry, it's not a question. I just wanted to share something that I talked about in my group with MJ and Autumn, is that some of these measures just feel very overwhelming for us. And some of these feel like these are things that we really shouldn't even be deciding, or at least like I'll speak for myself and say I don't feel fully qualified to decide on a lot of these things. And I think it just speaks to our imperfect system. And I wish that we had something better in place, because a lot of these things feel really high stakes and it feels like a lot of pressure. And I wish that we had more education on some of these issues.
Agreed.
Can I say something really quick, because I might have to leave early? Hi, my name's Doug. I did 2 years, 3 months inside of prison lawfully, and I ended up walking out innocently. Became a prison law clerk, all kind of different things. I advocate for a whole bunch of different stuff. The reason why I'm saying that is because this is my first time here, and your guys' movement is dope, dude. This is solid, man. Like, it's cool to actually be here. This is my first time. Thanks for the invite, and it's just solid. I mean, it's inspiring. It definitely is inspiring. So just wanted to say that in our group, that's pretty much what I was talking about.
Thank you so much. Thank you for recognizing that. And thank you for joining our space, using your testimony. Welcome home. And again, thank you. Anyone else wanted to share? No? Okay, well, I know we have Eunisses on the call, so I'll go ahead and introduce her. Eunisses is going to be speaking to us regarding why folks in LA should be supporting Measure J. Eunisses is a policy advocate and campaign strategist with over 5 years of experience working with local and state legislators, system actors, and communities most devastated by criminalization, the war on drugs, and mass incarceration. As a native of LA, the daughter of immigrants, and loved one of people with mental health needs and substance abuse disorders, Eunisses knows the detrimental impacts that criminalization has on immigrants and our communities of color. These experiences inform her analysis and policy development. Eunisses has been a leader in helping develop and implement sentencing reforms and sentence enhancement abolition policies. So it's with that I want to thank Eunisses for being with us today and go ahead and give you the floor. Thank you again, Eunisses, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I am so honored and humbled to be in space with you all and Initiate Justice. I admire you all. I admire Taina and her leadership, and just really, you know, for leading the way for other, you know, women of color to be able to like lead in this movement, which is very hard. So just thank you, Taina, for being a beacon and an example for us. My name is Eunisses, and Antoinette, can I just know how much time I have to make sure I don't like, because I could be long-winded. I just want to know, please, if that's okay.
Yeah, we have you until on until 8 p.m. So
okay. Awesome, thank you. Great. I'm working with the Reimagine campaign with, you know, Initiate Justice also on our campaign, and they're on our steering committee. So thank you for all your, you know, work on that. And what I do in my day job is I'm the co-executive director of an organization called La Defensa, where we work on judicial accountability. We work on developing and implementing alternatives to incarceration, and trying to move money away from the police and into the things that, you know, will help our communities thrive. And under Measure J, I'll get into that. And please, if y'all have any questions, feel free to plug them in. But Measure J is a local initiative on the ballot this November for folks in LA County to vote on. It would move 10% of funds that are located in kind of an account where all of our locally generated tax dollars go to. And what I mean by that is that, you know, when you pay your property taxes, when you buy things locally in LA County, like you pay taxes on that, and that goes into a fund where all our locally generated tax dollars go to. And these are flexible dollars, so they could go to pretty much anything we wanted to, right? In LA County, that bucket of money is about $8.8 billion, which is larger than most budgets for cities and even LA, I think, down here. It's a lot of money. And 43% of that $8.8 billion right now goes into the traditional system of injustice, such as the sheriffs, you know, prosecutors, the DAs, and the judges, and everybody in between, probation. So what Measure J would do is 10%. It would move 10% of those dollars into two buckets. The first bucket is community investment, and that looks like youth programs and jobs. That looks like housing vouchers, housing support, and the actual development of jobs that will build out, you know, more housing and a decentralized system of care. And it also will go to support small businesses. And then the second bucket that it funds is alternatives to incarceration. In LA County, as you all know, I'm sure, you know, we were fighting a jail plan to stop LA County from building 2 new jails. And when I say I mean the Justice LA Coalition. And so at the same time that we stopped the jail expansion plan last year, they wanted to build a women's jail in Lancaster and a mental health jail in downtown. We were able to push the county at the same time to create a report with us called the Care First Jails Last Report. But if I could be candid, like, you know, for us, it's Care First Jails Never. And so that was really our intention with that report. But it gives over 115 recommendations on how to keep our people out of the jails, how to keep our folks out of the ERs, the emergency rooms, and how to keep law enforcement away from our people, right? And so we have like that report, those recommendations. And when we mean that, you know, Measure J would fund alternatives to incarceration, that's what we mean. Particularly, we mean the investment in community-based services for pretrial. In LA County, over 7,000 people are currently in the jail because they can't pay to get out because of the pretrial system that exists. And so we can get into the details of that. But, you know, our pretrial population in LA County is bigger than a lot of jail populations across the country. So it's huge. So for us, pretrial community-based services are important because too many people are getting detained pre-trial when they shouldn't be. And also, invest in jobs and reentry and supportive services and mental health services. So that's what it would fund, those two buckets. There's a couple of things that, can happen, which I'm pretty proud of because it was a fight to get it in, but none of the money can go to or go through the traditional system of injustice, from the sheriffs all the way up to the judges. We've seen, especially in LA County, how probation has gotten millions of dollars under AB 109, under SB 678, dollars that are destined for social services that end up going into the probation department and then just getting lost, getting stuck up there. And so in LA County, probation has been sitting on millions of dollars that they just haven't given out, or they've spent on things that, where they weren't supposed to. So we wanted to make sure any Measure J money that was moved, and the amount of that is 10% that we're looking at is $500 million up to $1 billion. And so none of that money can go, through or to the system of injustice. And then the last thing is that the 10% is not the ceiling, it's the floor. And so, once we're in better fiscal standings after COVID-19, after we settle, like things get better, if the county wanted to, it could increase the percentage. And it has to phase the 10% within 3 years. So the county has a little bit of time to phase in the process. And then the last thing, sorry, that I'll mention is that, oftentimes we are kept out of the budget process where, we're just presented with the budgets that, the systems create. But in Measure J, we included a line about having a transparent and inclusive implementation process so that, folks could be at the table, folks who have been directly impacted could be at the table to push the county to prioritize, the things that are important for us and for our community. So that is Measure J, moves 10% into community investment, alternatives to incarceration, no money to the police or the traditional system of injustice, and an inclusive and transparent implementation process. The biggest opposition we have is the Sheriff's Association and the local police associations. And then we have like over 100 organizations locally that are in our coalition and supporting. And it's a wide spectrum. So you got folks who are working like abolition policies, like CJ reform policies. And then you have folks who are doing like housing and houselessness crisis support. But that's where we're at. And I'll open it up to questions if y'all have any.
Thanks. And folks, if you want to ask a question, drop it in the chat or feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you to ask Eunisses questions on the Measure J campaign.
I see Andrea dropped a question. She said, what about reentry and youth programming?
Yes, that's included in there as a Measure J priority. The youth programming and the community investment side, and then in alternatives to incarceration piece, we have a whole section in the report where it just talks about reentry and reentry recommendations that should be funded.
I have a question. What can we do to make sure that Measure J passes besides voting yes? And especially because I know that there's probably a lot of folks on this call as well who are also not in LA County. So what can folks do to support Measure J?
Great, thank you. So I have 3 things that y'all can do. Unlike other propositions, we didn't go through the traditional gather signatures phase and then get on the ballot, right? Like, we did this all together in July and got it on the ballot in 3 weeks through the LA County Board of Supervisors. But the thing is that we got in late in the game, right? Y'all been working on your props for over a year, and we just started this a couple of months ago. So the number of people that know about Measure J is small compared to other folks who have had longer time to invest in education. It's been very, very difficult for us to raise funds. And the Sheriff's Association just put in $2.5 million in TV ads against us. So that's a thing. And also we're hosting phone banks. So my first ask would be that, you tell anybody that in LA County about Measure J, tell them, that this is something historic. Nowhere else in the country is there a measure like this that would I failed to mention that Measure J changes the county constitution, so it's forever. It will outlive us. It will outlive the current board of supervisors, and so the transformational change that could happen with this is permanent, right? And so for please let as many people as know as possible, whether it's through social media. We have a weekly social media toolkit that we update. Please share that. We have phone banks. We also have paid phone banks. So 4 hours a day, I believe $15 to $17 an hour. If y'all are interested, email me. We're still looking for paid volunteers to phone bank. Also, if you want to volunteer for those phone banks, whatever, you can do that too. And donate, please. That's the third piece where, like I said, we are struggling to raise funds because we came late in the game, but also there's a lot of hesitancy to fund this campaign because some people think it's a defund the police measure. And I know I can be candid with y'all. And for us, hell yeah, we're hoping the money comes out of the sheriff's department and probation. But we have to just like with other voting populations, like we have to finesse the way that we message it. But internally, that is our goal, right? But that's also a big reason why foundations haven't been wanting to fund us. And actually people in LA haven't been really wanting to fund us. Most of the money we're getting is from the Bay. So anything y'all can do to donate would be great. Again, tell people, hit me up if you want a paid phone bank. Or if you want to volunteer phone bank, and then just donate. Or if you know any rich people, please tell them to donate. That's where we're at. I mean, this could really, and you all know this through the budget advocacy work, right? Like every year we fight for crumbs, whether it's at the state level, whether it's at the local level, like for crumbs. And oftentimes we are denied those crumbs. And so Measure J gives us an opportunity to start at $500 million up to $1 billion for housing, for real jobs, for alternatives to incarceration, and police. So yeah, it's historic. We can make history with this.
And just wanted to flag that Sochi shared in the chat that Justice LA is running phone banks for volunteers on Wednesdays and Sundays. So the link is in the chat for folks who want to support the campaign via phone banking with Justice LA. Again, we have Eunisses on for a couple more minutes. So if folks have any other questions they have around the campaign, ways to support, or just, whatever it is that you'd like to ask, feel free to drop those questions in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself and just ask the question, verbally through the Zoom meeting.
I have another question if no one else has one. Eunisses, can you talk about how Measure J compares, do other states have measures like this? And if Measure J passes in LA, what could this mean for, justice reinvestment in other parts of the state or other parts of the country?
Thank you for that, Taina. So nowhere else across the country is there a measure like Measure J. We're seeing that, especially in, the state where George Floyd was murdered, that they were trying to defund the police and dismantle the police. And then you had city council. After they agreed on video, they walked it back. And so, but you're seeing in other places, especially like in LA, where the mayor was all like, I'm going to move, $150 million from LAPD into services when their budget is way bigger. So there have been attempts to move money, especially in this political landscape, away from the police and have them not be the, responders to crisis. But none of them are permanent, right? None of them are transformational. None of them are talking over $150 million. Like that's why Measure J is so special, because it changes the constitution of LA County forever. And that it actually moves a substantial amount of money, where we're, I think the most I've seen anybody try to move is 150 million. That's from LAPD. But that's not permanent. That was one time. That was kind of like an olive branch to the people protesting, like the mayor saying, okay, I'm going to appease you. Here's 150 million, which is just a drop in the bucket from what the police get.
Thank you, Eunisses. Somebody had asked in this chat, in addition to the phone banking opportunities that Xochitl has shared that Justice LA is having, are there other events coming up that folks can join, to support the Measure J campaign?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. We're moving every couple of days starting next week. And this Friday, we're gonna have Facebook Lives where we're gonna be streaming on different topics. Folks are welcome to join those and ask questions. We're having Twitter Power Hours and Twitter Days where we're gonna be asking folks to, share content, retweet. I can share those social media toolkits with you all to access that. There's also, of course, we don't have any in-person events, which is sad, but a lot of our actions are going to be online. So Facebook Lives, Twitter, Power Hours, and we do have coalition calls every other week. So next week, we're having a coalition call that we would invite folks to join. And those are the events that come to mind that we have planned in the next few weeks. I mean, November 30th is right around the corner, so we're just trying.
Hence the need for folks to really, if you have your ballot, if you live in LA County, try to fill that in, get it in early, spread the word. And Sarah just mentioned in the chat, those of us who are outside of LA County should share the contents that Eunisses just mentioned. This is very historic and it's permanent, and it amends the county constitution in LA. If you're able to donate, and phone bake if you're able to do that to get involved. So if, we'll be sharing the information that Eunisses had relayed out to folks in the follow-up email, and as soon as we get other details that we can, share out with our members to support that campaign. But last call for any other questions that we have before we bring on our next speaker. Definitely feel free to, drop those questions in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself to ask any questions that you have, any last minute burning questions.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I want to echo what Taina said in the chat, that she's about to donate $100 to Measure J. I'm going to match that. I would like some other people here, maybe not 100, whatever the funds may be. We got the link in here. This is truly historic. Eunisses is selling it really well. Eunisses with Measure J and everything y'all are doing. Like, this is history, right? This is the LA County that we all want to live in. We deserve to live in. And this shit don't come cheap, straight up, right? Prop 17 is going to cost money. Measure J, we don't got the sheriff's department fading hundreds of millions to our campaigns, right? So it's on us, our collective people power grassroots. So I'm matching Taina. I encourage other people, please do the same. We got the link here in the chat, and let's raise some money and put the money where our values are.
Thank you so
Thanks
much,
so much,
everyone.
Greg.
Thank you.
Eunisses, did you have any closing thoughts you wanted to share out with the group before we move along on the agenda? We're just so lucky to have you here tonight. In any way that we can support the campaign, this is, your space to just really share out any last minute thoughts that you wanted to put the group.
I mean, just deep appreciation for you all, for the work you're doing. Prop 17, just thinking about how many more people are going to be able to vote, that is going to be transformational in itself. And growing the power of who we get to pick are in these positions that hold, the responses to what's happening. So it's really exciting. So just deep appreciation for you all. And thank you for donating. Every single dollar counts and helps. And I feel that. I appreciate that. And just please vote all the way down the ballot. Local measures are located at the bottom. Sometimes, folks just focus on the federal stuff and state stuff, but locally that's it. You can almost instantaneously feel when there's a change in people in there. So just thank you, and vote and donate if you can, and just share, please. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a great night.
Thanks so much, Eunisses, and thank you to everybody who has shared in the chat that they donated. That's really exciting just to see the community pull through and support, this important campaign. So just excited for us to continue spreading the word about Measure J and some of the other propositions that we've mentioned in our past meetings. So thank you so much, Eunisses, for joining us and sharing some of the insight and knowledge with the group. So have a great night. And so just plugging it again with folks that we had, for those maybe that joined a little late, we are going to be having a ballot party virtually next Wednesday evening from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. So just save that date if you want to, hang out with us and just talk about, your ballot, how to fill it out, maybe some of the things on there that you're confused about. That's going to be a space for folks to really chime in together and do that. So just keep an eye out for the announcement that we will be posting pretty soon. But that is happening next Wednesday night from 6:30 to 8 p.m. So moving along on the agenda, I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker that's going to be talking about how to vote by mail in the pandemic as it is now. Everybody's going to be receiving a vote by mail ballot, in case you didn't know that. There will be other options as well for folks who want to vote in person, but tonight we're going to be focusing about how to vote via mail by the ballots that everyone is going to be receiving. So it's my honor to introduce Andrew from the League of Women Voters tonight. He is a Trudy Schaefer Fellow for Public Policy with the League of Women Voters of California. He joined in 2018, and he originally worked as a community organizer, helping voters learn about the changes to the ways that we vote, breaking down barriers to voting. He's currently helping with the League's efforts to pass several ballot measures, including Prop 17, and assisting on several League projects geared toward making voting easier and more accessible for the average voter. So without further ado, Andrew, go ahead and take the stage and share with us some of this knowledge that you have for us.
Awesome. Thank you, Daisy. And thank you everyone for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk about voting. It is what I do. It is what I live and breathe. So I appreciate this opportunity. So let me see. I'm going to start real quick and see if I can share my screen. I have some slides just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm assuming you can see my screen, and hopefully you will tell me if you can't. Awesome. Okay. So let's get going if my screen will load. Oh, okay. So I'm just going to dive right into it. If I'm speaking quickly, it's because I have a lot that I want to cover, and I want to make sure that I do have time for questions. I know you've all talked about registering to vote, so I'll go through this really quickly, just in case you aren't sure if you're registered to vote. A good place to start is this first link I have there, the voter status one, just to see if you are registered to vote, especially since ballots are going out if they haven't already gone out in your area. You can also use that link to update your language preferences if you'd prefer to vote in a language besides English. And then lastly, it's not too late to register on online or re-register if maybe you've moved or you've changed your name or something like that recently, just using that link there. If you want, you can also vote, or you can register in person at voting locations. And you can do that even on election day. If it's like 6 p.m. on election day, you're like, oh, I forgot to vote, I forgot to register. You can still do it. Just run on down to your voting location and you can register there if you aren't able to do it online. Okay, so as I'm sure you all know, things are a bit different this election, just with COVID messing up pretty much every aspect of our lives. Elections are no different. So the legislature, the governor, they work together to update our elections a little bit to make voting safe and easy despite COVID. What that mostly means, there's a lot of small changes, but the main thing you need to know is that every registered voter in California will receive their ballot in the mail. And then you have a few options to return it. Of course, right now we're talking about returning it by mail, but I'll talk about some of the other options just briefly. So October 5th, Monday, was the day that ballots were sent statewide from your county elections office. Some were sent earlier. I know I got mine about a week ago, and they're popping up. I know people in LA County, people in Sacramento County across the state are getting theirs. And so hopefully you've seen yours. If you haven't, don't worry just yet. I would say if you haven't seen it by Saturday, that's normal. But if after that you haven't seen it, there's a way that you can check and see what the status of it is. It's this really great feature. It's called Where's My Ballot, also called Ballot Tracks. It's run by the Secretary of State, and it's a tool to help you figure out where your ballot is in the process. So if even right now you want to see where it is, or later, if next week you don't have it yet, you want to see where it is, definitely check out Where's My Ballot, because it'll let you know if it's been printed, if it's on its way, if you have to do anything else like contact your elections office to get your ballot. I know I was talking to my sister the other day and she was freaking out because she hadn't gotten her ballot, even though her husband had, everyone at my house had. And she was like, there's a conspiracy to make sure that I can't vote. And I'm like, no, 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 just check ballot track, see where it is. And that'll help. And she texted me a little bit while later and she's like, thank God for this, because it let me know that it's just being reprinted and it'll be here shortly. So it's a great tool and it's being launched statewide for the first time this election. Let's see. Next, okay, so we're just gonna dive into kind of the nitty gritty of filling out your ballot and getting it ready to go out in the mail. So there are some rules just to know about, just to make sure that your ballot's gonna be processed properly and it's gonna be counted, and that when you send it in, it's gonna go exactly where you want it to go. So there are things like making sure you use a blue or black ink pen. You don't wanna use red ink, you don't wanna use a pencil, otherwise the machine won't pick it up. You're going to want to make sure you completely darken the oval, kind of like taking a test. I hate to say it, but it is kind of like that. Just make sure for your choice, you completely fill in that oval. Make sure you're only filling out the amount of choices allowed for that contest. That might be a little confusing. So what does that mean? So for some races, they allow you to vote for more than one person. We know with the president, you can just vote for one. But with things, especially like local contests, you can vote for sometimes more people. Like for me on my ballot, I have a few school district races where I can vote for up to 2 people. So I can choose 2 candidates rather than just one. If you decide that you only know one candidate well and you just want to vote for one, by all means, just do that. Don't feel like you have to fill out or vote for the maximum allowed. And then lastly, if you make a mistake, if you check the wrong box, if you tear your ballot, if you lose your ballot, you can get a replacement one. You can, if there's time, you can get it mailed from the elections office, or you can go to a voting location in person and get a new one. It's totally allowed. It helps if you still have your ballot, like your ruined one, you can bring it in with you just to trade it in. It might make the process a little bit easier, but even if you don't have it in hand, you have an option to get a new one. Let's see, next. So it's kind of important. Sometimes it's an overlooked step, especially when voting by mail. It's perhaps the most important step. It's one of the main reasons ballots get stalled or even just not counted. So when you've completed your ballot, you're going to put it in the envelope that was mailed to you. I don't know if y'all can see this with my slides up, but you should have a ballot or an envelope that looks something like this. And on the back, it has a section that has a declaration just saying that you are in fact a resident, that you're not trying to vote in another place, and that you testify that it's true. And then it's going to ask you to sign. Mine has a big red X, and you're going to put your signature there and then date it as well. With your signature, one important thing to note is that you want to make sure that you use the signature that you registered to vote with. And this is a thing that trips people up, and it's understandable why. So what that means is when you registered to vote, if you filled out a paper form, you put your signature at the bottom. And you're going to want to make sure that that's the signature that you use when you sign your ballot envelope. If you didn't fill out a form, maybe you registered online, or maybe you registered at the DMV. In that case, they're going to use the signature that's on file at the DMV. And that's almost a little bit easier because if you have a driver's license, you can just look at the back of that and see your signature there. Every time there's an election, my signature doesn't change, but every time there's an election, I pull out my ID and I check it just to make sure that it looks the same. But let's see. So even if you are in doubt that your signature is incorrect, the elections office will let you know. After the election, if there's an issue with your ballot, with your signature, if it's missing or if it's incorrect, they'll send you a notification and they'll give you a chance to fix it. They call it curing, just to make sure that your ballot is counted, even if you do make that issue the first time through, or that mistake the first time through. And then lastly, on the ballot envelope, if someone is returning your ballot for you, if they're dropping it off at a vote location, a drop box, there's a space for them to fill out the envelope as well. They just have to put their name, their signature, and their relationship to you. So if they're your brother, your parent, your friend, whoever, I always recommend that you find a person that you trust, but whoever you give your ballot to, just make sure they fill that out and make sure you are also signing your ballot. Okay, and next, so if you are returning your ballot by mail, rest assured that you do not need any postage if you're mailing it within the US, which I think is going to be most of us. If you have a relative or a friend outside the United States that's mailing it in, they're going to need postage, but everyone else is good in California. You're going to want to make sure that it's postmarked on or before Election Day. So that means it has to get in the hands of the USPS by Election Day, if not earlier. If you put it in your mailbox late on Election Day and the mail has already come and they've already picked it up, and then you put your ballot in, it's probably not going to make it in time. So maybe just to play it safe, give yourself a few days early, regardless of where you put it, at the post office, at your mailbox on the street, wherever. The good news is it does have more time to go from the USPS to the elections office. It's 17 days. It used to be just 3. So it's a nice little update to just in case the Postal Service is taking their sweet time with it. They have 17 days rather than just 3. Okay, and next, so just a quick recap. So with voting by mail, can't see my notes here, sorry. So once you finish marking your ballot, make sure you put it in your ballot envelope. Make sure you're not putting multiple ballots in one envelope. Otherwise, the other ones are just not going to be counted. Make sure it's one envelope, one ballot, or vice versa. And also make sure that it is your envelope. Mine has my name on it, and yours should have your name on it. The only issue would be if you get it confused, like your spouse or a friend that's living with you. Just make sure you keep your envelope separate. Make sure, yeah, like I said, your name's on there. Make sure you sign it using the signature that matches your voter registration signature. You don't need a stamp, and just make sure that it's postmarked on or before Election Day. So I know not everyone wants to vote by mail for any number of reasons. I know the Postal Service has been in the news a lot. They don't have the best record right now, so maybe you don't trust them. Or maybe just voting in person is it's a ritual for you, and you want to be a part of that ritual, or you just want another convenient option. Rest assured that there are options for you to vote different ways besides just by mail. So besides mail, you can also return it at a drop box, which is kind of like a mailbox. And there could be just one in your county, maybe at the elections office, or there could be a bunch. It depends on which county you live in. But they can be in places like city offices, they can be at grocery stores, they can be out in parking lots, so you can just drive up and put it right in and then you're good. They're ideally in really convenient places that you can just drive up. You can also return your ballot at a voting location, a polling place, a vote center, any place in your county that is a vote location, you can return it. You can also vote in person. Despite COVID, there are still options to vote safely and conveniently in person. It's going to depend county to county. Some counties are going to have the same system. They're going to have an assigned polling place where you're going to have, they ask you to go to a specific place, probably down the hall, maybe a school or some other building. Some places are going to have consolidated them just because of COVID. It's hard to get voting locations, so they've consolidated them. So there's just going to be more people that have to go to the same location as you. Other counties have vote centers, which allow you to go to any single one in the county. So I live in El Dorado County, so I can go to the one that's down the street. I can go to the one that's kind of in the town business center, or I can go to the one all the way across county. So long as it's in the county, I have options, and it's really convenient. But regardless of the place you go to, there's going to be some other services you can get besides just dropping off your ballot or getting a new ballot. You can get a replacement ballot if you damage yours or lose yours or whatever happens, if the dog eats it. You can register and vote same day. I think a lot of people are going to do that. It's a great way to get involved, even at last minute. Not everybody's paying attention to the election until like the week before, but their vote still matters and they should get a chance to register even on the day up. You can get language access. They might have ballots and other materials in the language that you'd prefer to use, or if you have a family member that just doesn't want to vote in English, they want to vote in their preferred language, they have that as an option. Depending on the location, the services vary. You can check with your county elections office to see which location is going to have what. And then lastly, you can use an accessible voting machine. These are great if you have vision issues, or if you're hard of hearing, or if you just want to use the machines, that's an option. Just to fill out your ballot and go through your options there. And let me see. Oops. Okay. And then maybe one of the most important points is that you've sent it off. Now what? what do you do once you put it in the mail? Well, I pretty much had this slide already, and that's because I think Where's My Ballot or ballot tracks is such a great feature. Because not only is it going to tell you if your ballot's on the way, it's going to tell you if it's been received by the elections office after you put it in the mail, and it's also going to let you know if it's been counted or if there's another issue. So I personally, and I'm going to start looking at it after I send my ballot in, and just until I see that it has been counted, I'm just going to be checking it somewhat religiously just to make sure. And just in case any issues pop up, if it's something that I can fix, like an issue with my signature, I want to be on top of it and I want to get that done quickly. So definitely make a note of this if this is something that you're interested in, just making sure that not only are you sending your ballot in, you're making sure that it gets to the right person or the right office and that it's getting counted. So very quickly, I just want to run through a few extra resources because making sure you know how to fill out your ballot is only half the battle. Finding helpful information is sometimes very trying, especially when you have 12 statewide ballot measures, any number of candidates, and any number of local measures. So the league puts out the Easy Voter Guide, which is meant for new and busy voters. And it comes in English, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese. And it has basic information about voting, the different options to vote, as well as information about the ballot measures. If you just want like kind of a bite-sized introduction to the 12 state ballot measures, that's a good place to go. Next is Voter's Edge. And I say if you're going to pick one resource, I'm biased. If you're going to pick one resource to help you fill out your ballot, I would say Voter's Edge. It's an online ballot lookup tool. What you do is enter your zip code. If you want more specific information, then you can add your street address, and it's going to give you everything that's on your ballot. And that's including the candidates from president all the way down to like mayor, and then school district and water district, and some of the things you've never heard of, all the people running for office. And if they filled out their profile, it's going to come from the candidates in their own words. It also has a side of the site that's dedicated just for ballot measures. So like I said, it has easy voter guide content, as well as more in-depth information if you want to spend some time researching the ballot measures. And there's a lot there. And then really quickly, I know I'm running out of time. You probably all know about Electjustice and Initiate Justices on this. It's really exciting. I'm very excited to have been a part of this project and to have been a piece of putting this together. And we just launched it this week. But it's like Voter's Edge, but it's just for candidates who are local and who impact the criminal justice system. So we're talking about sheriffs, district attorneys, judges, mayors, city councils, those kind of contests. And then you can learn about those offices, and then you can learn about the candidates. And then very quickly, the other resources you're going to get, the official ones from the state and from your county, are the voter guides. So one's going to come from the SOS if you haven't already received it. I know I got mine, I think, late last week, and then my county voter guide came even earlier than that. And that just has a bit more resources. Your county one's going to have information about where you can vote and how you can get more local resources. And with that, I think I've hit my time. And I covered a lot. Sorry, I just jammed through it, but I am here if I think I have a little bit more time for questions. So what questions do y'all have?
That was great. Thanks so much, Andrew. Right in that time to give us some space for Q&A. We actually did have a couple of questions that were dropped in the chat as you were presenting. Somebody had actually asked when you were speaking about the drop boxes, whether, I'm trying to pull up the question, if it was only in your county or if they were available everywhere.
So drop boxes, I believe there should be at least one in every county in the state. But for counties, a lot of counties are going to have a lot of drop boxes. So like LA County is going to have them all over the place, and you can look online to see where they are. There might be one just in your local shopping center. Orange County is the same. Sacramento County is the same. Some smaller counties may just have one. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think we had another one come through the chat. So Mary Marino put in the chat, I was reached out by someone doing phone banking who told me I didn't qualify to vote by mail because I wasn't enrolled in the past. But from what I hear, information is incorrect because I did receive my ballot in the mail. Can you please just clarify? Do you have any information for her?
Yeah, that's kind of bizarre. I don't know what that means. Wait, you do not qualify to vote because you're not enrolled in the past. Yeah, no, that's not true. Every registered voter can vote by mail, especially you got your ballot. So you're allowed to return that ballot and it will be counted.
Nice, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to learn a little bit more about who that person was and why they're spreading misinformation. If it's widespread, that's a little scary. But anyway.
Yeah, and Mary, if you wanted to share any, feel free to email me or message me in the chat, and that way we can pass that information to Andrew if you have any details on that. There was another question, Andrew, from Sherry, whether do you have to use your own county box? I'm assuming this is like asking if people can drop their ballots in any drop box throughout the state, or if it has to be in the county that they're registered to vote in.
You're going to want to make sure that it gets to the one that's in your county that you're registered to vote in. I mean, it's possible that the elections office will see that and forward it to the appropriate elections office, but you don't want to count on that. You want to make sure that you're getting it in your county's drop box.
Awesome, thanks. And folks, if you have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. We just have a couple more minutes for Q&A to ask Andrew whilst we have him with us.
Yeah, Andrew, I have a question,
Sure.
kind of a concern, and you touched on this during your presentation a little bit. But for folks who have concerns about the like validity of vote by mail, and they don't trust maybe dropping their mail, they don't trust putting it in the mailbox or putting it at these drop box. They think it's to ensure that their vote really is counted. They want to go on election day. Can you maybe touch on some things to alleviate some of those concerns about vote by mail, ballots and everything?
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely been overhyped and exaggerated in the news lately, just with vote by mail. Do rest assured that so long as you are getting it in on time, so that's November 3rd, it will be counted. It'll make its way to the elections office. Might take a little bit of time, a few extra days for them to get it, depending on how quickly they're going. But so long as you do your due diligence and get it in on time, it'll make it. One nice thing, I know I can't always alleviate people's concerns and make them just automatically trust the system and how it works. But one thing I like to tell people is with drop boxes, it's kind of like voting by mail, except you're skipping the postal service completely. It's going to be picked up by someone that works at the elections office, and they have very strict standards for what's going to happen with those ballots when they get picked up and then taken immediately to the elections office to get sorted and counted and verified and all that.
Awesome, thanks so much. And I'll do one last question. Sophia wanted to know whether they pick them up regularly.
Yes, they do. I don't know the timing of it. I'm not sure if it's every day or every few days when we're this early out. Yeah, I do think it's daily. I just don't want to give you that guarantee on my end. But then once they get closer to the election, especially that weekend before, they're going to start being, if it's not daily, it's going to be every few hours, just to make sure, especially because they don't want them to get full.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. Just super appreciative of having you here. And it looks like Taina just said that Secretary of State Alex Padilla was interviewed the other day and said that it was actually daily. So just for folks who are joining us by phone or we didn't catch that in the chat, it is daily per that interview. So again, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us and spending a couple of minutes of your Wednesday evening to share this information with us. And for folks, we'll be sharing out those slides with everybody. That way you have access to the information that Andrew presented tonight. So thank you so much, Andrew, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks everyone for having me, and I'm dropping my email in just in case you have other questions. Feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Andrew. So we'll go ahead and pass it over to Antoinette, who's going to give some updates on upcoming events to bring us all home.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, thank you, Andrew. So I just want to go through some of our upcoming events, some that we've already talked about. well, that we've already mentioned and some of the committees have already mentioned. So in regards to our advocacy committee, the next advocacy committee meeting is going to be Tuesday, October 27th at 5:30 p.m. So if you're interested in joining the advocacy committee, finding out more information, that is when the advocacy committee will meet. If you have any questions or anything of that nature, you can definitely reach out directly to Greg, and I'm sure he'll be happy to assist. Our next meeting is going to be our Inside Organizing Committee meeting. So our Inside Organizing Committee meeting is scheduled for Friday, October 30th at 5:30 p.m. If you have any questions, contact Lee at initiatejustice.org, and he'll be happy to assist. We also have upcoming our Healing Committee events. So our Healing Committee events are as follows. The Men's Healing Circle, which is every second Monday. So this month, it'll be October 12th. We have the Formerly Incarcerated Healing Circle, which is every third Monday. This month, it'll be on October 19th. That's at 6 p.m. And then we have our Healing Circle for those who are impacted by incarceration, which is every third Wednesday. So for this month, our Healing Circle for those impacted will be October 21st at 6 p.m. And then our Healing Committee meeting, so just the general committee meeting, which everyone is welcome to if you're interested in joining the Healing Committee or just want to find out more information about some of the projects and things that our Healing Committee, Rashida, and which is led by Rashida and Indigo, are working on. Then that is the last Monday of the month. So for this month, it'll be October 26th at 5:30 p.m. So if you have any questions regarding the Healing Committee, then you can reach out to Rashida if she's still here. I'll ask Rashida, you can go ahead and put your information in the chat for our members. And then we also have coming up next week, and we'll be sending out more information, is going to be on the 14th. On Wednesday, we're going to be having our ballot party. So grab a friend, grab a notebook, and grab some snacks and goodies and join us for our ballot party, where we can all fill out our ballots together, ask any final questions, and get those votes in early so we can pass Prop 17, right, and get those ballots in. So those are some of our events coming up this month. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat, let me know, or reach out to the individual committees. I will also be adding into the chat again, just the sign-in form, the committee sign-up form. So if you're interested in any specific committee, that way you can go ahead and sign up and get us your information so they can reach out to you. And then I will pass it back to Daisy with a few more updates from our advocacy, our Prop 17 campaign and those events.
Thanks, Antoinette. So definitely a lot of opportunities for folks to plug in to support in various ways. But again, the Prop 17 campaign is something that we're looking to really bring home. We're in that last stretch. So just wanting to lift up some of the events that we had highlighted earlier in the meeting for those who maybe tuned in a little late. So we have our Prop 17 fundraiser that's taking place next Saturday, the 17th at 7 p.m. Greg dropped the bit.ly link in the chat. Again, if you have not had a chance to sign in yet, please sign in and we will send that information in our follow-up email. The ask is, if you're able to join us on Saturday evening, please do so. But also the bigger ask is bring a friend, share it out with your networks. We want to make sure that we have a large group of folks who can turn out because the goal is to meet our fundraising goal. So please share that out once you see that on your end. We also have an activist training session for folks who want to learn how to support the campaign, how to get involved. That's taking place on October 16th. That's Friday, the day before the fundraiser at 1 p.m. So I will share the bit.ly link for you to be able to RSVP for that event. And lastly, just highlighting that we now have phone banking and text banking opportunities that will be happening at various times throughout the week. Some are on the weekdays, some are on the weekends. So there's definitely a lot of room for folks to plug in if you want to join phone banking or text banking session. And so, you know, again, just elevating that we are really in the home stretch. And by the time we all see each other again for the November meeting, it will be after the election. So just bringing it home with some of these asks. So I'll close it out with just wanting to highlight that every meeting we like to acknowledge and uplift a member who has been, you know, doing a lot of amazing things to support our organization and whatever contributions that they are making. So during, for tonight, this month's member that we want to highlight, I'm very excited to say that this person it's been a really a great experience to be able to work with this person and watch this person grow in their advocacy. They have been an advocate and a voice for their loved one who is serving an extreme sentence, and really using that story to talk about the need to push an end for extreme sentences. They are involved with Families United to End LWOP, and joined Initiate Justice to start getting involved with some of our advocacy efforts. This person has participated in district meetings to talk with their legislator about, you know, the sentence that their loved one is serving, how it's impacted them, and just so excited to announce that tonight's member of the month is Yolanda Navarrete, who just graduated from our Sacramento Institute of Impacted Leaders cohort, and just so excited to welcome you to the Initiate Justice family as an outside organizer, where now you will be also able to add that title to, you know, the long list of accomplishments that you have done. So Yolanda, if you want to take a few moments just to just take the mic, feel free to do so, but we're just really honored to announce that you are our member of the month.
Wow, I'm so honored. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for leading the way and teaching me a whole bunch that I learned through the cohort. And I can't wait till that facilitator application comes out and we'll see where it goes. But I'm honored to be a part of the IJ team. This team really rocks, and I thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Yolanda. We're so lucky to have you part of the team. So, you know, thank you for being so supportive. You know, you're always sharing our events and just showing up, and just grateful to be in community with you. So I will pass it back over to Antoinette, who will close us out with some loose ends, and then we'll call it a night.
Thank you so much, Daisy. And again, congratulations, Yolanda. Thank you for everything that you do. Congratulations on graduating from the Institute. And I definitely look forward to working with you and sending you the facilitator application when that rolls out. We'll definitely get that out to you. So thank you. So I guess just to wrap us up, so I just want to say thank you for everyone for attending, but I want to highlight our next member meeting. It's going to be on November 4th. So if y'all want to mark your calendars for November 4th, it's the first Wednesday of every week. So it's right after the elections. We'll make sure to have something special, something for y'all to come and debrief and be in space with those who you know care, love, and support, and when we share the same ideas. So we'll definitely have something special for y'all at our member meeting November 4th. So make sure that y'all mark your calendars for that. Don't forget about our ballot party next Wednesday. We'll be sending out more information, so check your emails. Watch out for some social media posts. We'll be sending that out to everyone. And then just, if you guys have not already, please fill out the sign-in form, which Daisy just threw back in the chat. Thank you so much, Daisy. Just sign in, let us know that you were here tonight. And that way you can receive all of the materials that we'll be sending out after the meeting. And also, if you're looking to join a committee, we'll be putting that into the chat as well. The information to sign up for the committee, which Daisy just dropped there. So fill that out, identify which committees you might be interested in, or all the committees that you're interested in if you're interested in all of them. So our committee leads can reach out to you. And Lee plugging in his Inside Organizing Committee. Lee definitely needs y'all assistance. Our loved ones inside, they need us. They want to hear from us. They want to be trained. We just need people to help us train them. So definitely plug in with Lee. And that's pretty much it for tonight. If you are new, if you're new to joining the call tonight, if you're new to Initiate Justice, please stay on after with us. Taina will have an orientation for you. So thank you again. everyone for tonight, and we'll see y'all hopefully Wednesday night for our ballot party.
All right, everyone, take care.
Bye. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.